Employees at a discount supermarket chain in Germany have discovered 95 kilos of cocaine stashed inside crates of bananas. Police believe the shipment originated in South America and arrived at the Belgian port of Antwerp before ending up at the German warehouse. Deutsche Welle correspondent Thomas Sparrow joins us now from Berlin. Thomas, g'day. So quite the surprise for these workers, huh?
Quite the surprise for these workers, although it's important to stress that this is not the first time that cocaine is found in these crates of bananas. This is something that we've already seen in the past. And every time this story comes out, whether it is in a German supermarket or in a German warehouse somewhere else, this highlights a growing problem here in Germany, and by the way, a growing problem also across Europe, and that is drug trafficking, specifically of cocaine, and specifically via the maritime route. There are several routes that drug traffickers use to bring the drug to Europe. One of them is from South America. The countries that produce cocaine are mostly in South America, and they arrive in some of the biggest ports in Europe. You mentioned already Antwerp, but it's also Rotterdam, Hamburg, Valencia. And then a second route maybe is through Western Africa. And German authorities, European authorities, are very much interested in tackling those routes and making sure that the drugs do not arrive to Europe in the first place. So basically, when you have these stories that cocaine is found among bananas in a supermarket, that highlights a very significant problem, not only for this country, not only for Germany, but also for the wider European Union.
And Thomas, it seemed like a pretty crude attempt, didn't it? We've seen some images. They're just kind of bags of cocaine thrown in with the bananas. It's not as if they were tried to conceal them very much. Can you tell us more about the routes and what authorities are doing to deal with this problem?
Authorities in particular are trying to work hand in hand with other countries that are affected by the problem. The German Interior Minister, for instance, travelled to several South American countries earlier in the year to try and sign concrete cooperation agreements between, let's say, the German police and the Colombian police, the Peruvian police. That's one element, trying to already tackle the issue from the countries of origin. The second element is obviously trying to increase security operations in those big ports that I mentioned in my first answer. So from Antwerp to Rotterdam to Valencia to Hamburg, but also smaller ports, because one of the big problems that authorities are seeing nowadays is that as they increase their security operations in these bigger ports, those who are smuggling the drugs try and find smaller ports in other European countries to bring the drug into Europe. So, for example, Sweden is seeing a growing problem in this particular case, where the drug is being shipped to smaller Swedish ports, and authorities there are obviously trying to focus on the issue. And a third element, which is very important to stress, is that it's not only about the shipment of cocaine, it's also about drug-related criminality, drug-related crimes that are also increasing in several parts of Europe. So, all in all, this is a very significant challenge for European authorities, and one that they believe that can only be dealt with internationally, because this is in essence also an international problem.
Yeah, and so just how serious is the problem of drug use and drug-related crime in Germany?
Drug use is also particularly a big problem here in Germany. It is growing also compared to other drug use. That's something that has been discussed for quite some time here in the country, and drug criminality is also the focus for German authorities when it comes to trying to tackle those crimes that happen specifically in areas close to the ports, but also in other parts of the country. And as I stressed earlier, it is also particularly relevant to work hand in hand with other countries. So there's something called the Port Alliance that is being created specifically to tackle this issue all together. In other words, all European countries that are affected by this problem trying to tackle the problem together, also hand in hand with some of the countries where the drug is actually produced.
Okay, Thomas Sparrow there in Berlin.